Good afternoon and welcome back. We've got some big changes on the way. We will get a bit more into that later, but the gist is that things are going to be warming up. So, with that said, we will get onto that a bit later, but let's take a look at our 500 millibar chart. The first thing I notice is that we have a trough that is kind of extending from, like California over to the Missouri and Arkansas area here, with a low pressure center situated over Colorado. Now this will slowly move off to the east as we head through this evening and into the overnight hours. And then as we head into tomorrow morning and through the day tomorrow, it will start to pick up a little bit more speed and transition a little more northeastward. And then it will keep that up as we head through tomorrow night and into Thursday morning. Now you'll notice this starts to make its way towards our area. And while we aren't going to really get a perfect hit from this, we are certainly going to be close enough to feel some impacts from it. Now, the next thing you'll notice is that there is a much larger, more obvious trough that has developed off to the west at the end of the period here. And that will bring about another few days of disturbed weather on the heels of this smaller little guy. Now we look at the 700 millibar chart, which is a little bit closer to the surface. Things don't look too different. That first system is not immediately obvious on the 700 millibar chart. But as we head closer to tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and into Thursday morning, that little trough becomes more evident, especially as it moves up towards our area. And what becomes it was already pretty evident on the 500 millibar chart, but if it wasn't evident there, it certainly is now, that trough out to the west. Big boy. Now, as we head to the 850 millibar chart, again, that is even lower to the ground, there's really nothing that immediately sticks out, but it does share much of the same story. You can really see, especially as we head into the evening tomorrow and into Thursday morning, that little trough that will impact us. The the trough out west is not as evident at the 850 millibar level, but you can see lowering pressure as you go north. So the low pressure center associated with that system is likely going to be pretty far north. Then we can head down to the surface. Woohoo! Now, because of the way the pressure contours are labeled and they go, in increments of 4, the initial low pressure system with the small trough really does not show up on very well on this chart, just because it's not a very strong low pressure system, but rest assured it is there. And it is helping to bring some warm air up. As we look at tomorrow evening, we kind of have a warm, maybe stationary front type boundary from Missouri eastward. And that will that definitely looks like a stationary front type of boundary. As you can see, through the day, it really doesn't move much. It moves ever so slightly to the north. But don't worry, over time, it will progress northward, and we will start to get some warmer temperatures. Especially here, you continue to see some winds out of the south moving to the north, bringing that warm air up. And when that second system comes in, it's just going to help intensify that pattern and really bring some warmer air up our way. So now let's take a look at our short-term highs and lows, and then we will actually go beyond and look at some long-term highs and lows, because they excite me a lot. And initially, we're kind of sitting in the mid to upper 30s here, and we are expected to warm just a little bit, perhaps getting just below 40. And then overnight tonight, temperatures will cool a little bit, perhaps just down or just below 30 degrees. And those will hang around into the morning, though around 9 a.m.-ish, things will really start to warm up. And we will look to get above 40 tomorrow, and perhaps even into the mid-40s. So definitely an improvement from today if you like warmer weather, which I do. And then tomorrow night, things do again cool off a little bit. We do drop just below 40, or into the 30s. I mean, we're talking upper to mid 30s. But interestingly, they don't hang around quite as long in the morning as even as early as, 5, 6 a.m. We're starting to see that warmer air ever so slightly creep northward. And that will continue through the day Thursday, and will even continue through the next few days, which is what this tab here is for. This is the national blend of models, so it is a blend of a bunch of different models, and it kind of gives you more a better picture is, where the expected ranges across all the models are, and it gives you a better idea of what to expect because it's more of like an average of everything. And the temperature trend is largely upwards, at least until you get to parts of next mid to late next week. For today, or for yeah, today does show potentially some of those low 40s, potentially up into the 50s tomorrow. And then maybe there is some slight cooling on Thursday, but then Friday, especially as that larger system out west comes in, some really warm weather. 60s Saturday, 60s Sunday, 60s, maybe slightly colder. And then we get to Monday, 60s. There's a chance we could even get close to the 70s, and then Tuesday especially, 60s for sure, and we could potentially uh, find ourselves in the 70-degree range. But then things cool off once again. We could be anywhere from 70 to 43 for our high on Wednesday. I imagine that really depends on the timing of a cold front. And then Thursday, we're back down into the 40s, perhaps even 30s, and our lows Thursday and Friday night of next week are more reminiscent of winter than spring. But rest assured, it is spring. Winter is still going to have some punches here and there, but it is on its way out. But that is why I kind of call this our next fall spring, because it's not really full spring yet, even though it's technically spring. But it's definitely more spring-like than our last fall spring, will last longer, and we are definitely much closer to real spring. So, now of course a lot of these numbers will shift and change a bit, but the point is that from here on out, the temperature trend is upwards with maybe a day or two where we jump down just a little bit, but pretty much the rest of this week and the first half of next week are looking to be very nice and warm. If you'll notice down here, though, all of these green bars, yes, that is rain. In the kind of middle figure on the right here, there's a lot of rain. So even though it is going to be nice and warm for much of that period, there's also going to be a fair bit of rain associated with it, which personally I don't have any complaints about. I think there should still be a day or two in there where things are clear and you can go out and do things, but I've been looking forward to some rain. I think rain is such a calming phenomenon, and I'm excited for it. Now, I could potentially see some issues since the ground is already saturated from previous rain and snowmelt, but overall, I think this rain will be a positive for us. Now, on the topic of precipitation, some of that will start to move in during our forecast period. Currently, we do have some rain off to our south that is not affecting our area at the moment, but as that small trough we looked at earlier approaches us, still not a whole lot as we get into tomorrow morning, but again, as that small trough approaches, some of this rain will move into our area. And it starts its approach tomorrow afternoon and into the evening, and sometime overnight, between tomorrow night and into Thursday morning is when that rain will start for our area. And so, yeah, by 7 a.m. Thursday, you should expect some rain in the area. Maybe not constant, but should be some rain in or around the area if it is not actively raining. So, and that looks like it will probably continue through much of Thursday. Now it's time to hop into our wind forecast. So through the day and evening today, not a whole lot of wind. Even into tomorrow morning, not a whole lot of wind to speak of. It looks like a tiny bit of wind does try to make its way into some of the more southern portions of the state as we head into tomorrow afternoon, but it doesn't really appear to make it all the way up to the Lansing area. And for the rest of the period, all the way into Thursday morning, the winds remain calm. So that's a pretty easy forecast. Now let's take a look at the wind gusts. Hold on, it might take a moment. Sometimes you gotta click it twice. No, okay, yeah, there we go, sweet. Taking a look at wind gusts, again, calm through the rest of the afternoon and evening today. Remains calm into tomorrow morning. Again, we do see a little bump northward trying to get up into our area. We could potentially see some of the stronger gusts reaching 10 miles per hour, but when your stronger gusts are reaching 10 miles per hour, you are in a pretty dang calm period. Now, we don't see a return to full calm. We do see some gusts potentially even getting up to 15 miles per hour, kind of late into tomorrow evening and into the beginning of the overnight hours. But then as we head into Thursday morning, they do calm down just a little bit. But even then, when your peak gusts are 15 miles per hour, I think you're doing just fine. Unless you want wind, then you're probably not very happy. Last but not least, we're going to take a look at our cloud cover. So things are mostly cloudy at the moment, and that will remain the case for the next few hours. As we head towards the evening time, we may see some clearing, and especially overnight, we will see a lot of clearing. Now, we won't see full clear, but it's going to be pretty close to it as we are, through the overnight periods and into tomorrow morning. Now, things are going to be really dependent on exactly how far north these high-level clouds move. Because if these bump even 2 counties to the north, all of a sudden we go from 30% sky cover to no sun at all. So, but things are as things stand. Tomorrow looks to be relatively sunny, at least compared to today. It won't be a perfectly clear sky, but it should be mostly clear. At the lightest point here in the early afternoon, this is potentially even only 10 or 20% sky cover. So that's 90 to 80% sunny. Now some of those southern clouds will start to move northward as we head into the late afternoon and evening, and by evening time it's going to be almost complete cloud cover. And then of course that kind of lines up with when we are getting our rain. And of course, as that rain is moving in, things are going to get cloudy. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.